'Tis the Monday after all the wrestling happened. Coming up, I want to talk a little bit about what took place at Night of Champions. New WWE Champion Sami Zayn. There were plans that were scrapped when it comes to this title reign. We'll talk about that very, very soon. Plus, I want to have a little talk about TNA's new title that they revealed at Slamversary last night as well. But before we get into all of that, right, WWE back on their bullshine with AEW. So during the Great American Bash presented by NXT last night, WWE announced plans for the next NXT Premium Live event. And this is, you won't believe the coincidence that has occurred here, right? You ain't going to Adam and Eve it. So, Sunday, August 30th, we are getting NXT Heatwave, the annual summer NXT tradition. But before it, in the same venue, we are getting a AAA special event, as yet unnamed. Now, if that date rings a bell, it's the date of AEW All In at Wembley Stadium. Yeah, WWE are planning on that exact day to do two back-to-back special events from AAA and NXT, both from Edinburgh, Texas, the Burt Ogden Arena. So the AAA event and the NXT double. It's not the first time that AAA and a WWE brand have coexisted. Of course, we had Worlds Collide at the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California, back in June of last year. And then a few hours later, we had WWE Money in the Bank. They rushed Mr. Iguana across the county to get him there. They've done this before. But this time, once more, they find themselves doing it up against something that AEW is up to. And you might be thinking, oh, but surely the time zones will mean that we can enjoy it all at different times. Nah. So the AAA event is set to begin at 12 p.m. EST, which is 5 p.m. British summertime. And now it's sort of expected then, if the AAA event is starting around midday in America, that the NXT event will begin around 6 o'clock in the evening. Now, both shows are essentially going to run through the time slot for AEW All In, which the exact time for it starting hasn't been confirmed yet, but ticket websites are saying the event starts at 4:30. So we can assume 4:30 p.m. British summertime, that is. So we can assume then that that'll be the buy-in and such like that. But what it means is 4:30 p.m. BST, British summertime, is 11:30 a.m. EST. So these two events, coincidentally, are happening at the same time as AEW's biggest event of the year at Wembley Stadium. What are the odds of that happening? This isn't new behavior, as we know from WWE when it comes to AEW. They've made a habit of conveniently running shows like this. It was last year, All in Texas, where we had the Saturday night's main event featuring the retirement of Bill Goldberg, and we had NXT Great American Bash around the same time as All in Texas is on. Honestly, what a situation. What are they like? This has been a key part of what WWE does, to the point where, as we've heard, AEW have been reticent to actually announce when shows are taking place, because they're aware that WWE might go, oh, we were going to do a show then as well. I know, right? Crazy times. WWE putting NXT and AAA up against AEW, I think it's very shrewd from WWE. Whilst we did see some main roster activity against AEW programming on a few sporadic occasions, it's one of those where if you put NXT or AAA up against AEW, PR-wise, it's a bit of a can't lose. And we've actually heard Triple H himself comment on this many years ago in an interview when they were talking about like the ratings between Dynamite and NXT. And he kind of scoffed at the whole thing of, oh, great job. You beat our development brand. So this is what I mean, where it's a case of like if NXT beats AEW in the ratings, then WWE could go, oh, look at that. Even NXT, more people watching NXT than AEW. And if NXT lose that ratings battle to AEW, they can go, oh, it's our development brand. What's the big celebration for? The one thing that comes from stuff like this is that WWE really puts more effort into the shows when they're up against AEW. Like, I find that we've had some really randomly stacked episodes of NXT when there's been this sort of thing go on. It's not something they always do, but it's something that I feel like they do more and more. It stokes a lot of those tribalistic fires. No doubt the comment section down there is already a hot mess for this sort of thing. I would say that as a wrestling fan, it makes for quite an exciting weekend. Whilst it means that your time is divided for what you're going to watch live, it means that you've got so much stuff to watch across a weekend that it's probably coming at you with a bit more oomph than it would normally do. And I think that whether you choose to watch AAA and NXT live and catch the replay of All In, then, you know, you're going to be packed with it. If you're going to watch All In live, you might catch AAA and NXT later on. Then you've got a packed weekend with that as well. But I can't say it has blown my mind that WWE happened to be putting on NXT and AAA shows around the time of AEW All In. And you know what? We're going to keep an eye on that one. They might squeeze another show in. You never know. They just might. We had, as I say, busy weekend of the wrestling. TNA Slamversary was on, and it's been a few weeks where the trials and tribulations of TNA have been truly laid bare. With the departure of Tommy Dreamer, some of the stuff that's been kicked up as a result of that, TNA putting out press releases regarding streamlining their workforce, and it's been a weird time for them. But one thing that TNA, I feel like, does better than any other promotion on the planet is kick out at 2. You know, because what'll happen is they'll be against the ropes and then they'll put on like a Bound for Glory or a Slammiversary or an Against All Odds, and they'll be really solid. And sat and watched Slammiversary before All In tonight or last night. You're watching this. It's been a long one, and I have to say, Slammiversary was a really solid show. There were matches that we knew would be good fun, like the Ultimate X match was really good. But some stuff that surprised me, like Elijah and AJ Francis, like they went out there with purpose and they put on a really good match as well. It was the final cry of Mike Santana as TNA World Champion. It very much felt like a farewell to him before he went. He got the chance to essentially write a letter to Conan in a video package and tell the world that Conan is going into the TNA Hall of Fame at Bound for Glory, which I thought was a really lovely touch. Both Conan and Amazing Red added to that Bound for Glory Hall of Fame induction lineup, which I think is it was some real feel-good moments. It was a bittersweet show, what with the passing of Joe Doring, and the show was dedicated to Joe. Everybody had Joe Doring armbands on, and there was a speech at the very start of the show led by Cody Deaner, hometown man without the mask on, and it was really moving. That was bittersweet, but in ring they really worked hard. Amongst all of that, I think it was actually during the countdown show that TNA officially made the announcement about their new title. We are getting the TNA Knockouts Television Championship, a mid-card title for the Knockouts division. And TNA Hall of Famer Tracy Brooks appeared to not only unveil the belt that you saw just there, but also announced that it'll be determined, the first champion, in a 16-woman tournament that kicks off on the coming Impact. It's a choice, to be sure, because I've been through the TNA roster, and there's barely 16 women on the roster from like mid-card, main event, and all around. Whether this means we're going to see some independent talent involved in it. I did see the UK indie standout Rio not the AEW Rio, the other Rio, the leader of the pack, Northwest Strong, Red Rose Among the Thorns Rio. She was quote retweeting this with eye emojis. And it makes me think, maybe there's going to be some independent showcases in this. I would really like to see that because I'll be honest with you, of all the time periods for TNA to introduce a Knockouts mid-card title, I don't think this one is it, because this is, with all the respect to all the grafters on that roster, this is probably the thinnest that this Knockouts division has ever been. And now is the time that you not only have the tag titles back in circulation more often, but you also are introducing a Knockouts mid-card title when not only do you have a thin roster, but it got even thinner lately because Myla Grace is gone. Jody Threat hasn't been on TV for a while. I'm not quite sure what the score is there. Danny Luna's gone. Tessa Blanchard is gone. There are a few on that roster that could be made with a title like this. Possibly a Harley Hudson, Elena Black, maybe even Indy Hartwell, but it's pretty slim pickings at the moment. I think the belt looks quite nice. I'll pop it up for it again. There it is. I think the belt looks quite nice. KO TV. I do like that. Wasn't that Kevin Owens' talk show on WWE that time? I think it might have been. But speaking of belts, one man left Saudi Arabia Night of Champions with one very special belt. Sami Zayn is the new undisputed WWE Champion. I, for one, audibly gasped with joy when Sami Zayn got that 3 count in the main event of Night of Champions. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought this was just going to be another stop on the road for Cody Rhodes, heading into SummerSlam to defend the title there. Sami Zayn picking up the title filled me with joy. He's been one of my favorites for so very long, and this feels so overdue. Now, according to Corey Hayes of False Finish, this Sami Zayn title win was already on the cards, but they made a change. So False Finish saying that they actually wanted to have Sami Zayn win the big one at WrestleMania 43 in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia next year. However, they made the decision to actually bring this forward and get him in the mix with Gunter and Cody and give him the title win here. So we would have potentially seen it. And obviously I say potentially because a lot of stuff changes. You know, when they go, this is what we want to do. And I like to think there's always a long-term plan, but a lot of stuff changes. And I liked the shock value of Sami winning here. Never felt like he could do it. And I like the fact that he did it here, and it felt special that he's got it. Worked Wrestling kind of burst my bubble a little bit because they followed up on the Sami Zayn title change by simply putting, "Don't get too attached." There was already a few comments like this online in the wake of Sami Zayn winning the title, because you've obviously got Obafemi, who won King of the Ring. He gets a title shot of his choosing. It's possible that we could just see Sami Zayn hold the belt as far as maybe SummerSlam, where he drops it to Obafemi, and then maybe Oba defends it against Brock Lesnar on night 2. Maybe. You could easily also see Sami Zayn, the character that he currently has, like the last good guy, somebody who finds himself sometimes on the wrong end of injustice, or maybe the actual end of injustice. You know what I mean? And potentially you could see Sami Zayn. There's something in me that thinks, what if Sami Zayn drops that title as soon as this Friday on SmackDown back to Cody? Bah. I mean, they might. While Sami's reign kind of feels transitional, I can't quite escape that feeling in my gut. Still very happy to see him with the title. Still very happy to see him with the title. I think he's a guy that has more than earned it over the years. And so whether this reign is a day, 2 days, 10 years, it's just nice to see Sami Zayn with that title getting that moment. I thought that was really, really cool. You can check out what happened at AEW Forbidden Door. And he said All In. I'm ahead of myself. It's just a time of recording. It's just finished. So we've been up, we've watched it, and we know who's on their way to Wembley right now. And you can check out all the big movements from Forbidden Door on the channel right now. Stick around this week for WTF moments with Ross at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And maybe if your wrestling is from a different era, you can join myself and Jackie Orlando for a brand new all-old episode of the Cultaholic Classic Raw review a little later on today on the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast feed. Do you remember that time where Vince McMahon tried to make Steve Austin a corporate champion? Early, like this, 2 or 3 weeks into his title reign in 1998. That was a whole thing. And you can check out our review of it. We'll go through it beat by beat on the podcast feed if you're a Patreon. And thank you for supporting us on Patreon. There's a video version for you there as well. And of course, for the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Ross isn't here. I'll do the sign off. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.